results of our last poll. Who is the more stunningly incompetent Republican? Again, this was not Republican candidate. This was just Republican. And the three I put on the list were Michelle Bachmann, Sarah Palin, and Herman Cain. 30% said Bachmann is the most stunningly incompetent. 27% said Palin. 13% said Herman Cain. But 30% said it was someone else altogether. So really, our audience is very, very split, Lewis, on who the most nutty Republican is at this point. Are you surprised to hear that? Did you think that we would have more consensus?
I thought that Cain might be a lot higher.
I thought so, too.
Oh, well.
The new poll on our website. If it were medically possible, would you want to live forever? New information from Aubrey de Grey, who will be joining us about this. He is a biomedical gerontologist. He says we're close to that development, and I'm curious what the audience will say. Was that something you would want? And your emails, of course. Should drawings be considered child porn? We did the story the other day about a man being arrested entering Canada with some manga, is the correct pronunciation, Lewis, which depicted what would be child pornography if it were not fictional drawings. And we're getting a lot of emails about this. Let's not forget why child porn is illegal. It's because to make it, somebody had to do something terrible to children. If it's drawn, then clearly it doesn't have the same societal implications. Another email. It is thought crime in the sense that George Orwell used that term in his book 1984. That is a mentality that would send fans of violent movies to jail, since liking violent movies clearly means you might someday be violent, so let's arrest you now just in case. The other argument on this is, well, robbing banks is also illegal. So should any fictional depiction of that also be illegal? But I think it's different.
Yeah. Fictional in your possession. Fictional depiction of that in your possession.
Yeah, and nobody would argue that
Right.
having a drawing of a bank robbery would be illegal. We're actually going to have the executive director of the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund on our next show, and we'll see what he has to say about this. The biker who died while protesting helmet laws, who was riding a motorcycle without a helmet. Protesting helmets and dying for not using one. That's rather counterproductive to your cause, I would say. It is, but you're also dead. So beyond just being counterproductive, it's pretty tragic and disturbing. And as a paramedic, I can tell you that riding a motorcycle without a helmet is insane. Even with a helmet, make sure you fill out your organ donor card. Just saying, when a motorcycle collides with another vehicle, the rider, the bike, and their shoes are usually hundreds of feet apart. Sometimes people claim seatbelts are more dangerous in a wreck than being unbelted. Again, speaking as the person who scrapes dead people off the road, let me assure you this is wrong. Didn't you think that at one point, Lewis, that having your seatbelt on could cause you more harm than good because you might cut your shoulder on the seatbelt if you got into a crash? Was that yours?
I never said that, but there are situations in which a seatbelt can do harm, but I think more often than not, you're better off wearing it.
Given that you can't predict any of those situations,
right.
If you're going to throw in with one of the two sides, I say wear the seatbelt.
Wear the belt.
And the girl found eating herself in a cage. I prefer free-range children. Popular comment on YouTube, in pretty poor taste, I would say, and also kind of bizarre because well, I don't even have to get into why, do I, Lewis?
No.
Do you want to get into any of that?
Nope.
Lewis is just glossing over this one. Hey, at least it was an opposite-sex couple that was keeping the girl in a cage. Isn't a child better off in that situation than with gay parents? This is the perfect example, Lewis. This is exactly why gay parenting is dangerous. But any opposite-sex couple is, that's what's good for kids. And anyone proposing that the government should restrict who can and cannot have children, I believe has their head too far up Darwin's, I don't trust the Fed with my tax dollars, and I sure as hell wouldn't trust them with a national eugenics program. Fair enough. On the bonus show, Lewis will tell us some of his fireworks stories from past 4th of Julys. Surgically implanted bombs are now being discussed and plenty of other stories, so join us on the bonus show